Hey, this is Bijal, and I just wanted to kind of reflect upon the last 24 hours. This time yesterday, I was actually preparing to give a presentation to a group of entrepreneurs related to the real estate industry, not realtors themselves, but in the real estate industry. And today I had a consulting call or a discovery call with a would-be prospect. And the topic that came up was, what is it that we actually do when it comes to outsourcing? So to cut a very kind of long story short, what we focus on today are processes. And the reason that we kind of chose to niche down in this, well, it's not really a niche, it's one of two elements. Either you're typically outsourcing projects or you're outsourcing processes. Now, the challenge with projects is a lot of clients have struggled to articulate what they really want in a project. But more importantly, projects become a cost to the business. And I've seen over 10 years of having almost feel like several thousand conversations, we're probably somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 one-on-one conversations, is that most entrepreneurs struggle to outsource processes. The mundane, boring, overwhelming, repetitive stuff that we entrepreneurs know we should be doing, but we don't. And so that's kind of why we chose to specialize in processes. So anyway, so I was doing some preparation work for the webinar yesterday and the call today. And I realized that over the last several years, I've actually built up quite a library of processes. I'm going to share some of them with you, just so you can have an idea of what this looks like today. Let's see if we can do this. So you should, hopefully, if everything goes well, be seeing my screen. So this is the process library, nothing fancy. In fact, most of them are written in Google Docs. The reason I write them in Google Docs is because it makes it very easy to share and makes it easy for the client to either update or even we can update. So over here, is a key. So these red includes missing processes, orange, light orange here, it means that it needs to be reviewed and updated. Blue means that it's not valid anymore. Green means that it's been updated, but it probably needs another review because it's probably been a couple of years since we used it. And the yellow means it's ready to use. So you'll see a lot of them are green. So as we are onboarding new clients, we're kind of looking at the process, cleaning it up, updating it, software changes, methodologies changes. But a lot of them are 80% usable. So we've got processes for lead generation, for social media, how to go from an article to a video and then distribution, from video to article and distribution. In fact, I'll show you some of these, what they look like. Let's just jump into one of them over here. So this is a process that takes you from an article to a video. So at the top is basically we detail what the setup needs to be like, what some of the tools that the client may need to invest in to make this work, what access the VA needs here. So this is the top part is basically detailing some of that. And then down here is the actual process itself. So there's an overriding process. And then below that, I break it up into sub-processes. Now, some of these sub-processes will be done by the client. Some may be done by, by a specialist. So a specialist is basically a writer is someone who I refer to as a specialist. And then the rest of it, the bulk of it, can be done by a virtual assistant. So that's a process, that takes you from an article to a video and then distribution, then using the video in different formats and then sharing it across social media. So this is just one of the many processes we've kind of documented and written over time. Again, I look at a process as a living document, which means that they're forever being updated and modified. Then we have processes for Clubhouse. We have bookmarking, the kind of older process here, admin-related processes, customer support, voice, non-voice, telemarketing, real estate-related processes, e-commerce-related processes, processes for specialized businesses like chiropractors, legal, and then some growing number of checklists. And so let me stop sharing here. So the reason I share that is because one of the things that came up in yesterday's conversation was one of the attendees was saying, well, I just don't have time to write processes. And I find that fascinating because there's a certain truth to that statement. most entrepreneurs actually struggle to sit down for 20 minutes to actually make either a checklist or a process of what they're doing, such that they can delegate it out. In fact, a lot of, I think the US workforce, so almost 80% of the US workforce businesses are classified as solopreneurs or micro businesses. And most of them do not have processes, even though time and time again, experts will tell you that if you can't define what you do as a process, you really don't know what you're doing. The beauty of a process is once you get something to work and you can turn it into a checklist, and now you have a repeatable process that can create a result. But the bigger benefit is that you can then delegate that process out. So if you don't operate even your solopreneur, professional, or micro businesses using processes, highly encourage you to start creating your process playbook, which is a list of processes that create a tangible, repeatable result. And more importantly, that you can delegate that process out to a virtual assistant. And if you need help with that, you can always go to theprocesshive.com, and we have some very low-cost solutions that can help you get your process delegated off your plate and into the hands of one of our busy bees. So again, wishing you all the best. Until next time, bye for now.